everyone, and welcome to the Something in Mimosas podcast, a show where we share powerful life lessons, a few laughs, and empower women while sipping on mimosas. Now, grab some orange juice and champagne and welcome your host, Gail Dudley.
Welcome, everyone, to Something in Mimosa. This is your host, Gail Dudley, once again. And of course, we got to get started with that mimosa recipe. So listen to this, everyone. This is called a strawberry pineapple mimosa. All right, y'all, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need 1.5 cups of orange juice. You will need 1.5 cups of pineapple juice. Of course, you will need that either sparkling white wine, actually tastes better with this one, than the champagne, or you can have it just with sparkling cider. That will do as well. But listen. I do not want you to grab this bottle out of your pantry. I need you to have this bottle chilled. So if it's too late to do that today, go ahead with your regular mimosa today as we go into Something in Mimosas, or you can go ahead and chill it 24 hours and have that mimosa in the morning. All right, y'all, you also will need 1/2 cup of strawberries, and you will need those thinly sliced. All right, let me say that real fast, right? Here are the directions. Using a picture, you're going to mix the orange juice and the pineapple juice. Make sure you are mixing it well. You want to stir it really, really well. You want to pour the orange pineapple mixture into a champagne flute. You want to do that about half full or a little under half full, if you know what I mean. Then you want to fill your glass with the remaining white wine or champagne or sparkling cider. You want to serve this immediately. And of course, you want to garnish it with some strawberries if desired. All right, I'm going to give this to you one more time. You want 1.5 cups of orange juice, 1.5 cups of pineapple juice. You want a bottle of sparkling white wine. You know what? Really, y'all, if I can be honest with you, a Moscato would be great right here. Or you can do your champagne. You want it chilled. You want it chilled for about 24 hours. Then you want 1/2 cup of strawberries, and then you want to make those thinly sliced. You want to get a pitcher. You want to have mixed orange juice. You want to mix orange juice and your pineapple juice together. Make sure you stir that really, really well so that it is a great mixture. You want to pour the orange pineapple mixture into a champagne flute. You want to make that half full or a little under half full. You want to fill the glasses with your white wine, your sparkling cider, your Moscato, or your champagne. And then you want to serve it immediately, garnished with strawberries if desired. All right, y'all, that's the recipe. You all are sending in recipes left and right, and I am excited about them. Make sure you do that because we're going to start giving out some gift cards just to say thank you. So make sure you send those in. If you have any questions, you can email me at info.gaildudley, that's Gail, D as in David, UD as in David, LEY, @gmail.com. All right, everybody, are you ready for today? Today we have Nawanda Turner. She's the bomb.com. I met her a few years ago. It was snowing outside, but we were at this chocolate place. A friend of ours had pulled together some women. We had a blast. We ate chocolate. We drank wine. Then we went to the Short North area in Columbus, Ohio, and tried on clothes and bought clothes and laughed, cut up and laughed some more. So we have been friends for about 5 or 6 years now, and she is absolutely amazing. Her name is Nawanda Turner. And the reason why I have her on here today, we're going to talk about our journey. She's calling it Chapter 49. And most lately, she's been using hashtag Chapter 50 loading with her birthday coming up in the summer. Nawanda is on a specific journey to health, wellness, and weight loss. And during this Black History Month, I made a commitment, and I did a blog on this. If you want to check it out, it's at gaildudley.com. Just click on the blog, and the title is 28 Days. So for Black History Month, I made a commitment to get my health in order, especially we're going into year 2 of a pandemic. Things are changing, life is changing, and we need to take care of ourselves, especially as African American people. the two of us are African American females, but particularly Black people because of the disparities with our health. So, Nawanda, we're going to jump in. First of all, welcome. Good morning. Thank you for joining me. Let's have a blast.
Yeah,
Tell us about your journey. Just start telling us about your journey.
absolutely. My journey, the crazy thing is, my journey started about 4 years ago when I found myself basically newly single, divorcee. And so it was a lot of things that were going on and a lot of things I had to unpack and, just try to get myself back because, as women, I think we tend to lose ourselves when we get into relationships with our kids and things like that. We just kind of lose who we are. And so it was a long time journey to find myself because, as you know, we've all done the weight loss thing. We know how to exercise, how to eat right. And then all of a sudden we're like, well, why is the weight back? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I thought I got rid of it and it's stuck in the back.
Right.
How did it get back? Like, what is going on? And so I said, you know what? I'm missing something. There's something that I'm not addressing in order for me to be going in the cycle over and over and over again. So for me, I really found out that unless we address our whole person, the weight loss, it's not going to happen, and what I found out is that our weight loss, a lot of times what we don't realize is that if we've ever suffered any trauma, if we've had any unhealthy types of relationships, our weight loss is more about healing emotionally and mentally than it is about the physical, because the bottom line is we all know what foods are healthy for us. We
Right.
know that if I move daily, it's better for my body. If I stay away from certain foods, it's better for my body. We pretty much know that. But
Right.
why are we in this cycle over and over and over again? And so I think for me, it was I had never dealt with all of the toxic things and all of
Wow.
the trauma that I had endured in my marriage. I just never dealt with it because, listen, we're Black women. We're going to be strong. We're going to do what we got to do. That's what we do. And sometimes we are so strong to our own demise because we don't understand that we need help too. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, I don't have the answer. It's okay to be like, you know what? I need to work on me. And one thing that is really for me, that's really strong and what I do now is I spend a lot of time with myself. A lot of times, when we're in relationships with other people, you know how we say, hey, you got to spend time with that other person to get to know them. You got to spend time with them.
Right.
What
Right.
they like to see, what their trigger points is. We don't spend that same amount of time with ourselves. We don't. So we don't know, what triggers us. We don't know what upsets us, what makes us happy because we just don't spend that time. And so I started working on that and started seeing a therapist and working with a health coach. And then the pandemic hit. I was like, I'm sorry. What is this? Like, what?
Right.
What you mean I can't go to the gym? And what do you mean I can't do this? And so, like, for me, my mindset was going into this pandemic, I was like, I just need to move every day. I just need to move every day. I set my mind. I didn't focus on anything else. I didn't focus on how I ate. I didn't focus on anything else. I said, I need to move every day because my goal was like, I was not coming out of this pandemic larger than I went in. That was just my whole goal. Like, I don't care if I stay the same size. I'm just not trying to gain no weight. I'm just not doing it because, now we're in a different environment. We're not going out and seeing people. We can't go to the gym like we used to. We can't do all these things. So I said, I just need to move. And so, the program I do most often is, my Mike Nicholson Hip Hop Fitness. I love it because it was fun for me. I was like, in my mind, I'm like Beyonce's backup dancer in my mind. I mean, no, I ain't, but in my mind, I am. But it was a program that was fun and I just moved. And before I knew it, I had moved for 90 days straight. And I was like, well, heck, if I'm going to move, I might as well make sure I'm fueling my body and make sure that I am doing what works for me and, listening to my body. And one thing about me, and like I tell people, I said, I don't knock anybody else's journey because our journeys are ours alone. Like it's our own. And I think the mistake a lot of us make is we see somebody else's journey And we try to do that same journey, but that journey wasn't made for us. So for me, like me, I tell people, it's like, I don't knock anybody else's journey, however they choose and need to get where they feel healthy, because it's really about us feeling healthy and whole. That's really what the ultimate goal is. I don't knock it, but like for me, my goal, like one of my hashtags is chapter 50 loading, because I'm going into my 50th year of life. So it's my chapter 50 loading. My goal was, I did not want to be on any medication at all for nothing.
Wow.
For nothing. That was like literally my ultimate goal. I don't want to take medications for anything. Now, leading up to 50, what is that one thing that women we suffer with? That menopause starts, it hits. It's like, boom, let's knock you in your head. Because I have done such a journey and started listening to my body and taking away things from my diet that could cause symptoms, I don't have hot flashes. I don't
Good
have
for you.
I don't have to take medication for it. Like I'm not on blood pressure medicine. All of those symptoms that a woman my age would normally experience, I don't, because I made up in my mind, it's not about me denying myself certain foods. It's more so about, how is this going to help my body? How is this going to make me feel? Like I went cold turkey off of coffee like July of last year. Like it was literally an accident. And people were like, well, how did you do that? Trust me, I wasn't trying to, but it happened.
Right.
Because I went to stay with my daughter for 2 weeks before my grandbaby went back to daycare to help her out with her. And I left my Keurig here. She didn't have one. And I just was not paying every day for Starbucks. I said I wasn't doing it. Like, I'm just not going to do it. So I didn't have coffee. And when I tell you, I think that was the situation I needed in my life to understand how what we intake affects our body. Because for me, I don't do coffee black. I think it's disgusting. Like when people say, oh, you drink black coffee, I'm like, you might as well eat dirt because that's nasty. Okay. So for me, I like cream. I like sugar. It needs to be creamy. And that's how I like it. So when I stopped drinking coffee, I probably stopped about 75% of my sugar intake because it was in my coffee.
It
Okay.
was in your coffee.
My body went through such a detox that when I was done with my detox after that, I said, I will never drink coffee again because it was crazy.
Wow. Okay. Now remember, this is a short show, but there's a lot that I need to go back and unpack here. So I'm going to ask some random questions
Okay.
from what you shared. And then I'm going to need you to give me a quick answer so I can ask you the next question, because you gave me a whole lot. So let me back up a little bit. I wish this was an hour long. Okay, let me back up a little bit. You said you touched on something when you talked about it being our whole life. You were talking about it's not just the weight, it's not just eating, it's everything else. You also touched a little bit on trauma. Can you speak to that? Now, 60 seconds,
Okay.
Nawanda. Can you
Yes,
speak
yes.
to that? Because that's powerful.
Yeah. So a lot of times what we don't understand is things we experience in life, they leave an impact on us. And if we haven't dealt with that and really addressed how it impacted us, what happens is that is still packed away in your mind, and you're not free to really pursue the best you can be because you've never addressed that. You've never sat down with somebody and let them help you process all that. So a lot of time, and that's where I'm at now. Like, listen, when I tell you I'm free right now, I'm like, listen, Nawanda gonna do what she gonna do, because Nawanda,
I love it.
let's go. Like literally.
So you just said something else there, though. I want our listeners to really hear this. So I'm gonna keep going here for a moment. You may have gained 100 pounds. You may have gained 20 pounds. But sometimes what I'm hearing is sometimes that's tied to something else that's going on in your life. And until you deal with that something, regardless if you do a 7-day fast or a 7-day weight loss journey or a 7-day exercise regimen, that if you still have not dealt with that one thing or those other issues, you're going to go right back to that cycle. Can you touch on that a little bit? Because what you just said there was amazing.
Absolutely. I have lost weight before where I've lost 60 pounds, lost 70 pounds, and just, I've been up and down, up and down, but I never dealt with the trauma and the disappointments and all of the things that caused my mind to make decisions that weren't beneficial for my body. And that's where it's at. People don't understand that a weight loss journey, honestly, it's not about your body, it's about your mind. It's about your mind.
Wow.
And until you have a mind that is free and clear and healed, you can never move forward consistently. We'll have little snippets where, like you said, those 7-day challenges, because you're in a challenge, I'm competitive.
Right.
7-day challenge, I'm trying to win. Okay, that's just all to it. So I'm going to do it for 7 days. But then life happens. And when you don't have those skills to cope with what happens, you fall into those bad behaviors. So it's not that your body really wants to do it. Your mind is not healed. So it's like, oh, that's comfort food. So, and I'm feeling stressed. And instead of having an alternate way to deal with my stress, I'm going to go back to what I know I'm going to eat, because I've never had anybody help me find alternate ways to deal with stress in a healthy way that it doesn't negatively impact my body.
Wow. Now, I'm sure right now, everybody, because, something in mimosas, normally everyone comes to the show with their mimosa in hand. I can see people right now saying, oh, and they're taking a different posture in their chair or sitting at the kitchen table, looking at it saying, am I going to take another sip of this or what? But you said some things. I got to go here. I'm looking at the time, but we got to keep going just a little bit longer. So 2 things. One, you mentioned early on when we were talking, you mentioned that you started moving every day and then you found out it was 90 days. So, for example, I share with you about what I'm doing during Black History Month. And so since Sunday was my kickstart dry run, although it was January 31st, but going into February 1st, this morning made my 4th morning. Okay. Exhausted, trust me, exhausted. And I do this before News in Motion because I don't like to exercise at night. If I don't get in the morning, it's not happening.
Right.
And one thing I said to myself this morning was like, okay, I really can't go as long as I want to on the cycle. So I'm going to still move. So I found a walking video and said, I'm going to follow this. So when you said you were moving for 90 days, you were just going to move. What did that look like and how long did you do that?
Yes. So for me, I started with something that was fun. So of course I did Mike Nicholson Hip Hop Fitness, but for me, moving is moving. So I set in my mind, I needed to move 30 minutes every day. So if that meant 10 2-minute, 10 3-minute walks, that's 30 minutes. I don't care. If it meant a 30-minute walk, if it meant me walking up and down stairs, I didn't care. I was moving. And what I realized is that I didn't set out to move 90 days in a row. My goal was to conquer each hour, conquer each moment. So if that meant I stood up each hour and walked for a few seconds, after a while, that's going to add up. And so what a lot of people do is they look so far in the future and it's overwhelming. And then they give up because they're like, I can never do that. That's just too much. When instead of just looking at each day and say, hey, let's conquer today. Let's do today. And before you know it, you're like, wow, I did this for 2 weeks straight. I did this for 30 days straight. And so I think that's what we need to do because I think as people, we don't give ourselves enough grace. Like we give grace to everybody else, but we don't give grace to ourselves. So it may be that, hey, maybe I didn't hit the Mike Nicholson Hip Hop Fitness today, but man, I took a walk with the dog and we walked for a half hour. Guess what? I still won the day because I still moved 30 minutes. So it's really just being intentional about each day to get a win each day where it comes to your overall health.
I love that. You said you still won. I love that. So moving, even if it wasn't what you set out to do, you still did something and therefore you classified it as winning. I love that. So what would you say? Man, this time be flying by. What would you say to that person, female or male, that's saying, okay, I'm having health challenges. I need to do something. Maybe they're in a place where they have 10 feet of snow, so they really can't get out. Maybe they have so many underlying conditions, so not sure they can go to the gym, what would you say to them?
What I would say is find one thing to get a win with. I think a lot of times what we do is we try to take on everything at one time. And let's be real, we didn't get here overnight. Okay. We didn't get here overnight. So find one thing you can do. So if you're in the house, get a chair. You can stand up and down, stand up, sit down in a chair, stand up, sit down in a chair. Find something, making your mind like, hey, today I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to make something that's healthy for me to eat. A lot of times we just try to take on all of it at one time instead of focusing on one thing and winning there. Because what happens is when we get one thing and we win there, everything else you can start adding stuff. So for me, it was moving. Once I got that moving down pack, I'm like, well, heck, I'm going to fuel my body in a better way because what am I moving for if I'm not going to eat right? It makes no sense.
Right.
So you find one thing that you can win at and focus on that for a while. And when you have a win there, then you start adding stuff. So like, I don't let being here, I don't, with the pandemic, I don't let not going to the gym like I want to be a hindrance. It's like, okay, when can I go? And if I can't do that, okay, what can I do at home? There are so many online programs now, like we have no excuse, honestly, not to move because so many people have online programs just because they can't go to the gyms like we used to. So find something that works for you and find something fun because I think a lot of people give up on their workout programs because they're not fun. Like,
because they're not fun.
When I work out, I don't want to look at it as, oh gosh, I'm working out. Here I go. I want to be like, yes, it's time to work out because it's fun. So that's what keeps me going back to the one I use all the time because it is fun and it is enjoying. And then before I know it, it's like, oh, I done burnt 500 active calories. Okay, being Beyonce's backup dancer. Okay,
and I can say this as the listeners are listening to this broadcast, this podcast today, Something in Mimosa. I've been following you on Facebook since you've kicked this off. And every day you are posting some sort of video that shows that you are up, you are moving, you are excited. Where I watched that and I'm like, wow. And I think I even inboxed you and said, tell me how you're doing this. But you're just excited. It has been an inspiration to me to see you continue this journey the way you're doing it. So I have another question. You got to answer this in 60 seconds.
Okay.
And this question is, what do you say to that person who really believes, I will call it a lie, that you can lose 5 pounds in the first week? And they're not seeing the weight come off. They're not seeing anything happening. They may even see the scale go up. What would you say to that person?
I would say to you, you didn't gain that 5 pounds in a week, okay? It took a lifetime, honestly, for some of us to be where we are. You have to make small changes and throw away the scale. Honestly, stop doing the scale. The scale, I call this, the scale is something that will discourage people, especially when they know they've been working. That was me. I would get on a scale like, I did all this, and you trying to say that I'm only down 0.2 pounds? Like, what happened? But get out a tape measure. Start measuring inches because you will see as you start working out, your body changes. And for me, that's when I said, hey, I'll step on the scale once a month. But honey, I get that tape measure. I'll be like, okay, this waist is coming in. So find non-scale victories. Like literally find non-scale victories. So if you ate great for that week, that's a victory. So stop focusing on a scale as the only way you can win because it's not. It really isn't.
Wow, thank you. Before we sign off, I want everyone to know she's also a serious businesswoman, and she calls, and I love her tagline, Raising Champions. Could you share with everyone the businesses that you have? I think you have more than one, and just give us a little insight. You have 60 seconds, Nawanda.
Okay. So honestly, I do a lot of stuff. I am a jewelry person. So I do paparazzi accessories. So that's www.thedivastation.com. But also Raising Champions is a platform that I have started that really helps develop you. So I'm working right now with my daughter as a business mentor as she kicks off her second business. and really just help give tools and give guidance to people who just kind of are out there like, hey, well, what can I do in this situation? And how can I do this? I mean, I have a project management background, so you know how we do a project management, deliverables and dates and things like that. So I'm that person that I can help you see the big picture and also just give you tools that make sense for your life and aren't things that are hard to do. So I just, I raise champions. I'm a champion. I'm the first champion I raised, but I got 2 kids. So that's my tagline is that. And, it's going to be a lot of stuff coming up in the future under that whole umbrella. But I'm just somebody who wants to help and wants to see people win. That's really the bottom line.
I love that. You want to see people win. If you can slow down and give us that website one more time for your jewelry business.
www.thedivastation.com. THEDIVASTATION.com.
I love that. Thedivastation.com. Yes. I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. We could really go another round, so I'm going to have you back.
Okay.
March is Women's History Month, and I think this is just as great for you to come back, and maybe we can dive into that emotional eating piece, because I know that's my problem. And to everyone, thank you for continuously tuning in to Something in Mimosas. Again, I'm your host, Gail Dudley. If you want to be interviewed on this podcast, please send me your pitch. You can do that to info.gaildudley@gmail.com. And that's INFO, Gail Dudley, GAIL, D as in David, UD as in David, LEY @gmail.com. You can also check out my website and see what's going on there. That is www.gaildudley.com. Again, that's GAIL, D as in David, UD as in David, LEY. Do not miss out on seeing the devotionals on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Gail Dudley. And you cannot miss News in Motion. That is Monday through Friday at 7:25 a.m. Eastern Time. We are having a great time on News in Motion. We now have a Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/News in Motion. We're a family. We are a family. They come in the room and we're having a great time there. So don't miss that as well. All right, everyone. Until next week, I am Gail Dudley with Something in Mimosa. You have a great day, great week. Peace out.
Thank you for joining us on the Something in Mimosas podcast. And don't forget to come back next week. For more Something in Mimosas, follow Gail on Instagram @Gail Dudley, subscribe to Gail's YouTube, or visit us at gaildudley.com.